The collective heavy metal world knows about the Dimebash incident from January of this year, where Phil Anselmo supposedly made a Nazi salute and also mouthed white power. We've also seen commentary from many different sources regarding this, including this very channel. We've gotten the initial statements from Phil Anselmo. We've gotten, alteration of lyrics from Rob Flynn for the newest Machine Head single. Vinnie Paul has spoken out, and many others have spoken about this occasion. Some very, very upset with what Phil had done. Others not really taking much of a side at all. But there's one person that we've never gotten a full-scale interview based off of this occasion. It's really Phil himself. He's been one that has really distanced himself a little bit, even though he did release an EP with Scour earlier this year. He told his down bandmates to sort of stay away a little bit, that way they don't sort of get wrapped up in everything. Now with Superjoint Ritual coming out with a brand new album later on this year, there is finally an interview that has surfaced based around this, and it's going to be printed in the 2016 December issue of Decibel magazine. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to read the comments that are going to be within this article, and we're going to see how we feel about them. This is basically live reaction, and I want you guys to do the exact same thing as I after you're finished hearing them in the comments, whether or not you believe Phil Anselmo and feel that he's being forthright and honest about this. So the comments begin by saying, I'm not deflecting at all. What I did was insulting, absolutely, and abhorrent, because it did truly upset people, and it hurts my heart that anyone would think that I'm the dreaded R word, a racist. Anyone who truly knows me knows that it's utterly ridiculous, but if I did offend my Jewish friends, people I work with, my associates, other people in bands, if I were to upset people in that particular way, well, that's why I apologized. That apology is there, and no, you won't get another one ever again. He also added that he felt it was kind of funny that he was being accused of being a racist, considering he has a Mexican drummer and a half-black guitar player. In this case, he's referring to Superjoint and Phil Anselmo and the Illegals bandmate Jose Manuel Gonzalez and Superjoint guitar player Kevin Bond, respectively. He went into a little bit more detail about what happened that night, Phil Anselmo did, and this is what he said about it. He said, first and foremost, I was absolutely smashed drunk. No excuse, but I was. It was late and my mood was mixed because of the situation in general. We were honoring my dead murder guitar player, and it's still something that a piece of me has not come to grips with. I know people are reading this in black and white, but it makes my heart ache as I say it. Now, from the second I stepped on that stage until the bitter end of that night, there were a couple of kids with an absolute agenda constantly, all night long, calling me the dreaded R word. Racist, 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 over and over and over, in between songs, during my stage banter, and I marked it. At 4:35 in the video, you can see my attention slowly beginning to get irked and agitated. By 5:10, you can see me actually eyeballing these people and engaging. They were 70 feet away from me, screaming this shit. I even invited them up on stage and dared them to call me that to my fucking face. And I said I would knock them out cold. You can check the video for yourself. Can you hear the kids? No, you can't. But I most certainly did. And I've talked with people who were there who can corroborate because they were standing right next to them. Should I have done it? Hell fucking no. Would I take it back? Absolutely. But my sense of humor is dark and my temper is and always has been volatile. So I reacted. I reacted in an ignorant way. I own it. Do I believe in it? That's ridiculous. Ultimately, Anselmo claims he yelled white power and threw the Nazi salute because he was joking about drinking white wine backstage and because he was reacting to the audience members up front who he says were taunting him. He would go on to say the white wine thing was a running joke backstage after, get this, kissing Doug Pinnick of King's X on the lips. He said, and he says to me, whoa, you taste good. Because I was drinking a bottle of white wine. I even joked about it with him. White power, ha ha. The funny thing about that is that particular room was for certain artists only. Other certain people who were part of the Dimebash were not allowed back there. I guess they felt slighted or, in quotation marks, offended. So there was a running gag there and it carried on even after the incident. What went down on stage was an extension of that. but also a firm reaction to those motherfuckers up front who, well, that's exactly what they wanted. Now, of course, this isn't the first time that Phil Anselmo has been accused of racist overtones. There was a situation in 1995 that also came up based around this same idea. However, this was something that Anselmo also talked about. He said, the people say that I have a history of racism. When I was in Pantera, I was completely and utterly confused when in the 90s the t-shirts started circulating that said, "Stop Black on Black Crime." Today, as a damn near 50-year-old man living in 2016 where America is divided so completely, I understand it, and I support that sentiment completely. But as a young man in my 20s, I didn't understand it, and I did speak out vehemently against it, because, to me, it basically said, "Stop Black on Black Crime," but everyone else is fair game. That's how I took it, and anybody could get that misconception. So there's your mighty racist history right there. I took offense to a t-shirt. Now this is all going to be in the December 2016 issue. We can assume that there's going to be other elements to this article as well. So now we have the important, job to determine whether or not he's being honest about this. And to be perfectly, real with everybody out there, I kind of think that he is. Phil does have a history of being extremely, volatile. And yeah, he has the opportunity to be a dick. He says what's on his mind, and sometimes, based off of that volatile temper of his, it does cause him to say things or do things that get him into trouble. But I think sitting down with Decibel and giving them sort of the straight shit, so to speak, is definitely something that is going to work into his favor. And I kind of buy into it, considering we've seen a lot of different people this year that have been on stage that have been taunted by various individuals, and now the superstars are starting to lash out a little bit. Not that it was something that was absent before, it's certainly something that is now, based around the cell phone age of 2016, seen a lot more on the internet based around the circulation of the video that is shot. Now, also another thing that needs to really be taken into accord is the fact that here in 2016, things have really not been in a position where anything that could be considered or construed slightly racist or slightly anything, whether it be sexist, whether it be homophobic, is considered all right. People are calling out everybody for just about anything. There's very seldom few things that you can joke about that doesn't provoke some sort of negative reaction from at least somebody in this universe, at least here in 2016, the world that we currently live in. Does that completely excuse what Phil Anselmo did back in January? It absolutely doesn't. Still stand by the idea that it was a really despicable thing to do, and it really seems like Phil has that same mentality, really recognizes it for the wrong that it truly was. But the secondary idea that there were people heckling him, I mean, there's that whole idea of thick skin, and I'm sure some people will cite it in the comments, but there's also the idea that there's only so much that a man can take. Put yourself back in that same situation. And sure, you can say, 100% in your mind that you wouldn't react that way, or you wouldn't react at all, you would be this perfect pillar of strength. But in that situation, I don't know. I really don't think that I could have that same idea. I think if I was in that situation, I'd probably react as well. The same way that Phil did? Probably not, but I would still react. Really, all in all, this is something that is going to go really some good places for Phil. Is it necessarily going to mend all the fences that may have been burnt based around this, horrible situation? Probably not. But it's going to at least showcase that the man is taking responsibility. He's owning for what he does. Owning up for it at least. And that's something that a lot of others, those that perhaps might be calling him racist, either that or those who have done things similar, well, it's a lot more than those folks are doing. A lot of these folks, they're proud of what they've done. They don't think that, an apology is necessary, because that's how they feel. If this is how Phil truly felt, to apologize would almost negate that whole idea. And that wouldn't exactly seem very Phil Anselmo-like now, would it? He's not necessarily one to run away from a fight. All in all, this could really be glorified damage control, but I somehow doubt this. But I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think that Phil is 100% genuine about this story, or about, what happened the night of Dimebash, where now he's been considered by many as a racist? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys next time. My name is coverkillernation, and if you want to read this article, there's a link in the description for you to do so. Either that, or you can check out the newest edition of Decibel magazine for December of 2016, where it will be printed in full. Take care.